Guys, I never knew what electricity in a home was until I was 8 years old. I didn't know what indoor plumbing was until I was 10 years old. We don't come from money. I don't know a time that I didn't have a job. Yeah. I had some good jobs. They were fun. So I just wanted to make that clear that I'm not starting from a platform of any kind here that would be significant, so forth. Mm-hmm. This is strictly the power of getting priorities straight and understanding that you have a purpose in life and find out what it is and go do it. Yeah. 30 years ago today, I was in Brookwood Hospital over here getting replumbed in the heart 4 times.
Wow. 30 years ago today is the anniversary of that.
I was recovering in the hospital at that time. That surgery was on Thursday. Yeah.
Wow.
Kim and Dave were living in El Paso at that time. And we'd gone out to do Christmas with them. So that's a 2-day trip by car. Got home on Tuesday after Christmas and New Year's. Okay, you know, I've been involved in singing.
Yep.
I was taking voice lessons at that time on Wednesday night. The voice coach lady gave me Old Man River to learn, and I was enjoying the heck out of that. Went home bellowing at the top of my voice. Mary says, "Sounds like you feel good." I do. Yeah. Had a bite to eat. You got to go to choir practice. Abbreviated choir practice. Ice storm was coming. People around you don't know how to drive on ice. Couple of the fact that it's hilly, you know. Got home early. Mary was cooking in case the fire was out, which did happen. Mm-hmm. I sat there and talked to her for about 30 minutes or so and said, I think I'll turn in. Went to bed about 2 o'clock in the morning. I woke up with a rumbling in here. There was no chest pain. There was no pain shooting down my arm that people talk about, stuff like that. But there was nausea. Yeah. You ever picked up a sack with a cat or a snake or something like that and feel it moving around in there? That's what it felt like. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that's a great visual.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, it was so incidental. I just laid there for a while. And finally said to myself, "Hey, boy, something's wrong. You need to say something." Mm-hmm. Then I was trying to figure out, now, what am I going to say without getting her all upset?
All that.
Getting it to 6-foot hover and so forth. Panic or whatever. Finally, I thought of something brilliant. I punched her and said, "You doing all right?" "No, I don't." "Why do you ask?" "I don't think I am." Need to take me down to Brookwood Hospital, get me checked over just in case of something. "Oh, she won't call an ambulance immediately." "No, Mary, it's just a bug of some kind, that's all. Let's just drive me down there. It's not sleeting yet or whatever." Put on my jogging suit, walking across the room to get socks, fell out. Mm-hmm. I wasn't out all that long. But when I came through, I was wringing wet and cold. She'd called the paramedics. They're only half a mile away. Very peaceful feeling. Now, guys, when you got to go, this is the way to go. Yeah. Yeah, I remember giving her instructions about turning on back floodlights so that they can find the place easier. Cause so they were giving me IVs and doing BP counts. It was going down, down, down. Got me down to Brookwood Hospital. Couldn't find anything wrong with me. You probably got a esophagus condition, so the symptoms are pretty much the same. Well, we got you wired up and so forth. It's weather's deteriorating big time. Cold and wet outside, warm and dry inside. Good place to spend the night. My doc finally got there about 11 o'clock the next day. It took him that long to get there because of the road condition.
Storm, yeah.
Anyway, he says, based on what has happened to you and your family's history, you need to do a heart cath. Jim, how long is that going to take? A couple of days. Lie. Jim, I have a bug. I'm going home. Check me out. Says, if you look outside, no one's going anywhere in Birmingham, Alabama for the next 3 days. You picked an ideal time to have this thing done.
Mm-hmm.
Did find a cardiologist on duty that afternoon about 5 or 6 o'clock. Gave me the heart cath and said you have full block 90% and you're right on the verge of a massive one. All I remember was that nurse slapping me around trying to keep me awake long enough to sign that consent form. Got to do the paperwork, you know. Yeah. Next thing I know, I'm coming out of anesthesia. Yeah. Now, the reason for this rambling story, if it hadn't been for that ice storm, I'd have come in and Shem Blanton to let me go home and die.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Taking you back to this period of time.
Yep.
What would life have been like for you financially, having been faced with that situation, if you had already been practicing this process and had the cash values accessible to essentially help you through this without having to rely upon the commercial banking system?
Well, it was very painful, of course, to face up to all this sort of stuff. But when I started teaching what I discovered, I tripled my income, and that helped out a good deal. But it was very painful trying to get people to understand this because of the mindset that prevails out there today. There's more financial noise out there in the world today than ever before. There are more financial geniuses per square foot in the world than all the time before that. How do you explain this sort of stuff to the mindset that prevails out there? And I kind of tried to suppress it. But when I had that bypass and so forth, it's about like a 2 or 4 across the eyes. Look, boy, I planted something in your head bone, and it needs to be revealed. Get your tail up and go to work. So I have no choice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Now, I have to admit that first 10 years was a monster. Yeah. It wasn't fun at all. Mm-hmm. Yeah. You know, I was trying to get the message done through seminars with local people and so forth. And you get about 40 people that good suspects here, and let's say 30 of them, whatnot's going to be promising they're going to be there. Mm-hmm. All right, 6 o'clock on Thursday night. 4 o'clock, I start calling them all to remind them. Every last one of them said they're going to be there. And there were several occasions where no one showed up.
How did that make you feel?
I'm trying to think of a word. Disheartened is not one of them. It's not strong enough.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's why are you doing this, boy? I guess something like that. Yeah.
And so many advisors nowadays have made a career out of what you've developed.
Well, they're receptive listeners, though. That's the most important thing. That's the most important thing of all. You know, I've been doing seminars all over the United States and Canada for the last 20 years and so forth, and what a wonderful 20 years it's been, thanks to guys like you. Oh, hallelujah, you have no idea. It's the last 20 years, best 20 years of all my life. Yeah.
You talk about leverage in that chapter, and you say that rarely is there conversation about leverage when the lever goes the opposite way.
Yeah, they say that leverage is wonderful. Yeah, it is, so long as things are working the way the financial geniuses describe it. But I've never met one that ever tells you what happens when the lever goes the other way. After all, that is what a lever is all about. But one other thing that you mentioned there earlier, I was dealing with partnerships in real estate, and particularly in real estate development, where I really got involved in real estate. I felt comfortable having partners, among other things. Jason, if you don't have somebody to share things with, you really don't have much.
Right.
Okay. So there was this big name lawyer here in Birmingham, a principal of one of the largest firms in Alabama. He owned 30% of our project. We had a project that there's no way you could lose. It was impossible. He bankrupted on us. My share of bailing him out was $300,000. So actually, there was $800,000 at 23% that I was really attacking to get rid of all that debt through this means.
How did that make you feel?
Painful.